We always, over the last 30 years of gaming, have seen a reduction in price. Now, Microsoft's not coming out directly and blaming tariffs for this, but this is unprecedented, folks. And this just makes the price of gaming so much more expensive. The Xbox Series S, which nobody really even cares for or likes, is now $400, 200 more than launch. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Evocative Gamers podcast. My name is Alex, and I am going to be bringing you the latest news in the gaming community. Now, I have been away for a few weeks. Danny is busy doing things for school, and so we're flying solo today. But that doesn't mean we're not going to give you the latest and greatest happenings in the game community. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, drop a like, and let's jump into it. We're going to kick things off with, is Microsoft losing their mind? Xbox Series X price increases yet again. This is not an article that we would have covered a few months ago when Microsoft decided to raise the prices of all the Xboxes across all the lines, but rather, this is a brand new article dated September 22nd. So just today, as of this recording, Microsoft, what in the world are you doing? The price has gone up and it's $200 more expensive. They raised it up about 150 the first time around, and then it went up just another $50 over the weekend. And this is putting the Xbox Series X in at $650. Now, keep in mind, this is a console that came out 5 years ago. Folks, this is the anti-pattern. We always, over the last 30 years of gaming, have seen a reduction in price. Now, Microsoft's not coming out directly and blaming tariffs for this, but this is unprecedented, folks. And this just makes the price of gaming so much more expensive. The Xbox Series S, which nobody really even cares for or likes, is now $400, 200 more than launch. And so, again, macroeconomics are in the blame here, but I just don't understand what Microsoft expects out of this, because you are competing at $650. Keep in mind that Sony has a PlayStation 5 Pro, which is way more powerful than the Xbox Series X. They got it at $800. And also keep in mind that this is the basic Xbox Series X. Keep in mind that there is a 2 terabyte Xbox Series X, which, let me see if I can find the price here for y'all. But that price is much closer, right? So the 2 terabyte Galaxy Edition is $800. That is more than the PS5 Pro. So what in the world is Microsoft planning on doing here? Because how do you compete at that point, right? This is still a capitalistic society, and gamers don't have unlimited budgets. And so this is a very interesting move by Microsoft to place the Xbox, which again is 5 years old, so closely with the leading console, which is the PS5 Pro. We're competing on price, but definitely not on features. If I have to pick between a $750 PS5 Pro, which is going to give me ray tracing, all this awesome next generation stuff, or a Xbox Series X, which again has been out for 5 years, the winner is going to be very clear. Sony is going to take the cake here. And what's even more important is that, not pictured here, but I have seen other reports where Sony is outselling the Xbox consoles, all of them, X and S series, almost 2 to 1, if not 3 to 1. And that is just very alarming, because this is not going to help the case. So the only thing I can think of at this point is Microsoft getting ready to just pull out of the console era, because every sign points to the fact that basically Microsoft is just digging their own grave. They do not want to make consoles, and if they do, they don't want to sell them to anybody, because at these price ranges, holy moly, that's just way too expensive. So let's see what you think down in the comment section. Is Microsoft done? Are we seeing the final nail in the coffin for the Microsoft console gaming? Or are we just getting started? Because as you all know, the Asus ROG Ally X and non-X are coming out very soon, October 16th. So that's like in 2 to 3 weeks. But the prices, we have not seen the prices yet. And the rumors are 900 and 550, which is still radically and ridiculously too expensive, in my opinion. And this begs to a question that I've had, and maybe I have the answer to my question, but that is, who exactly has the money to buy these consoles? I know we have the true gamers, right? The folks that are going to buy every console generation, but that's such a small niche. I would think of the casual gamer, like I was once when I was younger, but I think that is shifting in it of itself as well, my kids certainly don't care. They're not impacted by a Microsoft increase or not because they don't simply care for console gaming. Maybe the Switch 2, maybe because the Mario games appeal to them a little bit more, but they could care less about any Xbox or PlayStation. And as long as they can play Roblox and as long as they can play Roblox on their $200 iPads, that is all that's important for them, right? So this is an interesting era of gaming that we're getting into, and I'm not sure where we got the disconnect from the gamers and the group that I grew up with, in the era that I grew up in, and the current gaming trends and where we're going. It's so different. The landscape is just so different that it makes me a little sad, but I completely understand. And I think Microsoft, you would think that they're doing some sort of a research and discovery here because this just doesn't make sense. Like, why would you raise the price so much that is basically going to put this console completely out of anybody's hands, right? This is the opposite of what we've seen. We want more people. We want more and more people to have your consoles so that developers are incentivized to make better and more games. And this is just the opposite direction, Microsoft. So not sure what you're all doing there. I'm sure y'all figuring out the monies and stuff, but I'm considering Microsoft is done. They're probably just going to become a software only company, and I definitely think they're going to be following in the paths and in the ways of Sega. So that's it with the Microsoft news. Let's move on to Fortnite. Fortnite coming out with a very interesting new creator ecosystem update, and that is developers will soon be able to sell in-game items. Now, I've never done anything with the Fortnite area, but in December, developers will be able to sell items directly from their Fortnite islands, opening up new revenue potential, in addition to receiving engagement payouts from Fortnite item shop sales. Developers will ordinarily earn 50% of the V-Bucks value from sales in their island, but from December 2025 through the end of 2026, the rate will be 100%. To determine the V-Bucks value in US dollars in a given month, we will take all the customer real money spending to purchase V-Bucks, convert it to US dollars, subtract the platform and store fees ranging from 12% on Epic Games to 30% on current consoles, and divide it by the total V-Bucks spent by players. Fortnite's average platform and store fees are currently 26%, with specific fees ranging from 12% on the Epic Game Store to 30% on the console platform. So 50% of V-Bucks translates to roughly 37% of retail spending, and 100% of V-Bucks value translates to 74%. Developers will use a verse-based API and new EUIF and new UEFN tools to create and offer purchasable durable items and consumable items in their games. We'll share more details soon. So, folks, this is awesome. This is great. This is, I think, a very, very big reason now for people to jump even more strongly into the Fortnite bandwagon if they're not already there. And this is just crazy. Like, if you're trying to build a business off of Fortnite, this is definitely going to be a very, really enticing opportunity. And 2026 is definitely going to be an exciting year. Now, this is interesting that they pull in the Roblox at just 25% of all inexperienced dollars spent. And so we're going to get 74%. So definitely much more lucrative to be over on the Fortnite side than it is on Roblox. So that's going to be really awesome. So if you're a developer, you're thinking of doing something in the Fortnite space, definitely consider this. I know this is something that I'm now definitely going to be considering for next year. Now we got a new news here with look out for number 1 in the Fortnite Delulu. I've never played Delulu, but this looks like one of the new items coming in. And so in the no build Fortnite Delulu, 80 players start out solo in the Battle Royale island. The match ends with just one player remains. Spot an enemy nearby. Team up to improve your chances. Max squad size is 4. If you leave a squad, you can immediately fight your former squad mates. After all, there's 4 of you and only one can win. Talk with players near you on the map with proximity voice chat, meaning you can talk with squad mates and not squad mates. Spectators can talk to each other too and even listen in to the remaining players. So this is a new limited time mode that's going to run from September 19th through the 22nd. So this is basically done. And then we got another run from September 26th through the 29th. So just a quick opportunity. So if you haven't tried it, this is an interesting one. And no, you won't get banned for teaming in Delulu. Teaming is the whole point. So looks like Fortnite's trying new things and new game dynamics. And let me know in the comment section, what do you think about this new dynamic? Have you tried it out? Did you try it out? And did you like it? All right, switching gears over to the wonderful world of Nintendo. Nintendo Music app updates games, songs, and everything you need to know. So apparently Nintendo had a Nintendo Direct, and we are going to be getting a new music app that lets you enjoy all of Nintendo's iconic tunes. It's going to be free for Nintendo Switch Online subscribers. The app features recommendations based on Switch play history, and you'll also find curated playlists, background music, and offline play. So this is interesting. And so, yet another reason why you would want to have Nintendo Switch Online Play. And I haven't personally seen too much about this, but it would be kind of cool. I think one of the biggest nostalgic values of all the Nintendo games is all those great soundtracks and scores that we've had over decades of video gaming. And I wouldn't mind working to some music from Nintendo. And so this is going to be cool. Although I don't know how much value there is in having my Switch play it. I think I'd rather have it on my computer, but that's neither here nor there. So let me know in the comment section if you are going to be trying this functionality out. I think it's cool, but I think it's more gimmicky than anything else. I don't know, again, the use case. I remember back in the day, back in 2001, 2002, when the original Xbox came out, you can rip your music onto your console. And so that was cool because back then we didn't really have places to play music, but music is ubiquitous nowadays, and I rather see this inside of Spotify than inside of your Switch. So let me know in the comment section if you're going to be taking advantage of this. All right, staying on the Nintendo bandwagon, Virtual Boy Nintendo Classics announced for Switch 1 and 2 at the Nintendo Direct. So Nintendo has made the shock announcement of the return of the Virtual Boys. The Virtual Boy Nintendo Classics announced for Switch 1 and 2 at a Nintendo Direct. The Virtual Boy, in case you don't know, is a console that Nintendo came out with a long time ago. And it was kind of one of those stories where it was too advanced for the time in which it came out in. And so there's going to be, it looks like 14 games, 14 classic games that are going to start rolling out over time, coming February 17, 2026. I don't know how I feel about this. I think very few people that are on the Switch. I think the Virtual Boy came out in the mid 80s. And so this was a really, really long time ago. And I think it's kind of cool that Nintendo kept all that IP and they're reviving it. But there's a reason why the Virtual Boy was kind of dead on arrival and didn't really sell that well. So, and it's designed to be virtual. So the Switch isn't virtual. So it's interesting that they're bringing it. That's cool. But at the same time, like, oh, I see here. There's going to be a dedicated accessory needed to play, recreating the Virtual Boy peripheral of old with a cardboard model also available. Okay, so there will be some quote unquote virtualness to it. So at least it's not just like playing a 2D game or 3D game in a 2D space. So that'll be interesting. But again, I don't know if it didn't do well. That if it didn't do that well in the 80s, I don't know that it's going to do that well now, especially since it's basically the same game. So don't really care too much about that. Super Mario Galaxy and Galaxy 2 are coming to the Switch console. So again, Nintendo, when are you going to give us some new games? Because these are just rehashes, and I'm getting kind of tired of just paying for the same games that I've already given you money for again. Now, I know Danny's a big fan of being able to play the updated HD graphics, but the story is the same story, folks. Like, I just don't care. Um, it's it's the same game, right? It's the same game. So not really excited to give Nintendo yet again a good chunk of my money to play the same thing that I've already played. Now, if you've never played them on the Wii, then maybe this makes sense, right? But for me, this is just Nintendo being Nintendo, doing the same thing over and over and over, where they just take that old IP and just freshen up the graphics and charge you another arm for it. And not cool, Nintendo. Not a big fan. All right. Speaking of Galaxy, though, we are getting a new Nintendo movie. We're getting a new Mario movie specifically. And the theme is going to be Mario Galaxy. And so Nintendo kind of teased this at the end of the first movie. But this time we have Mario sitting down on a what appears to be having his little Isaac Newton moment under a peach tree here, and it goes up and into the galaxies, and we get the official title being the new Super Mario Galaxy movie. Not sure how this plays out. I'm excited though because the first movie was phenomenal, and so I have no doubt that they have great people over at Nintendo working this thing out. We do have a couple new characters, so we're gonna see some new actors, and given the stacked lineup that we had in the first movie, I expect nothing less from the second one as well. But yeah, Rosalina is going to be a new character that's going to be in it. So we'll see who gets to play her iconic voice. But yeah, I'm very excited. It looks like it's going to be April 3rd, 2026. So we're just 6 months away from this movie. So that's exciting. I am definitely signing up to go watch this one. I love the first one, right? So the first one was phenomenal. And I am sure that this next one is not going to disappoint either. Let me know that in the comment section if you plan on watching this next Super Mario Galaxy movie. All right, Capcom is still around. That's surprise number one. Number two is yet again, we're doing three Resident Evil games for Nintendo. So it's interesting. I remember a time where Resident Evil was too evil for Nintendo. So I think that has changed over time. But I remember Resident Evil went over to Sega because just Nintendo couldn't handle it. But then mid to 2025 or sorry 2005 or 2006, I think there was a tide that turned. But yeah, Resident Evil still around, and so we're going to get some new games over here. It's going to be Resident Evil 7 Biohazard, Resident Evil 8 Village, and then Resident Evil 9 Requiem. So those are both, all three of them are coming over to the Nintendo Switch early next year. Again, same games, different skin on a Switch. Nothing exciting. I would have been more excited for a new Resident Evil instead, but you get more games, so I guess you can't complain. And speaking of new games, we do get a Metroid Prime 4 Beyond finally has a release date, and Samus has a motorbike. So, Metroid Prime 4 is going to be available this year, December 4th, 2025. So, looking for a good Christmas this time around. And I'm not as excited for Metroid, but Danny absolutely loves Metroid. I just never got into it. This is the long-awaited follow-up to 2007's Metroid Prime 3 Corruption, and so that originally launched on the Wii. And a fourth installment of the first-person shooter has been long awaited by fans. So, in the comment section, are you going to be picking up Metroid Prime 4? I know Danny's definitely going to be lining up, and I know what Danny's definitely going to be doing for Christmas is playing this, but let me know if you're going to be picking it up. I still haven't picked up a Switch 2. I haven't been able to justify the cost of a Switch 2, but let me know what you think and if you're going to be picking one of these up as well. All right. And then some lighter news before we close this off. Fortnite official Batman 1989 is Fortnite official Batmobile 1989 has been revealed. They took the original iconic 1989 Batmobile and it's coming to the battle royale of Fortnite, and so this is going to be cool. We're going to okay, it's coming through. Yeah, this is that. I grew up with this Batmobile. I was born when this Batmobile came out, so this is exciting to see this in the game. No details on how much it's going to cost, but I'm pretty sure we can go figure it out inside of the Fortnite itself because it looks like it's already available. So it's already in Fortnite. So let's go see if we can find out how much this costs. So let's go to Fortnite and let me see if they can figure out how much this Batmobile is going to cost us because this is kind of cool. I like this. This is again one of those things where I don't particularly care for Fortnite, but just being able to see the nostalgic value, that's pretty cool. Like I think that's one of the reasons why I would even just consider um, buying these things or buying into this Fortnite digital downloads because I'm not a big fan. If you've been watching the show here, you know that I'm not a big fan of DLC. But I'm not sure about this yellow. But yeah, 2,500 V-Bucks for the Batmobile, and yeah, and it's got a sound too, so this is kind of cool. Oh, and you can use it in rocket racing and in the battle royale, and yeah. So, oh, and it's only available until October 3rd, so you better buy it before it goes out. Oh, you can use it in Rocket League. Purchasing this item will also make it available in Rocket League. This is the only thing I really, really like about how Epic does it, right? Like you can share it with other games, and that's where it's at. Power to the consumer. All right, and the last and final thing is we're getting, or we just got a new Mandalorian and Grogu trailer, uh, basically hinting for the next movie that is coming out, and hopefully a new TV show because I love, 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 love the Mandalorian. I don't like Star Wars. I'm not a big fan of Star Wars, but definitely a huge fan. And so, one of the things that you need to know is that the movie is going to hit theaters May 22nd, 2026. And the ride at Disneyland is going to also be updated. So that's going to be great as well. Star Wars Starfighter is starring Ryan Gosling, is due later that year, May 2027. And yeah, so cool stuff here. All right, folks, that's it for the news. I know there's a lot going on in the gaming community, and so we're going to try our best here to bring you the latest and greatest. Couple of what the heck's going on with Microsoft. Exciting future for Fortnite, and Nintendo being Nintendo in their traditional sense. So if you enjoyed it, make sure you hit the subscribe button, drop a like, and we'll see you next week with all the latest roundup of our gaming news.